What's up guys, Maximilian here, and just concluded on the Let's Play portion of Chris Redfield for Resident Evil 6, and wanted to give some thoughts and impressions. So, just to give you guys a quick summary, Chris Redfield's side of the campaign is most likely the most action-oriented of the three characters. However, this does come with a few flaws, and you would think that a campaign that has like a lot of action and a lot of things for you to shoot at would supply you with ammunition to do so, but for a lot of the campaign I found myself running around without ammo, and I was actually questioning the battles I was getting into. It seems that when you have like a game like this, which that's a old Resident Evil staple for like ammo management and things like that, but it seems like in Resident Evil 6 you're encouraged to kill these things, but at the same time you kind of have to avoid these fights. A small gripe of mine. The other thing you'll notice is that I don't exactly have much of a problem with this because I like games that put you in like the set piece of a movie, but the game is extremely linear, and the challenges of the game presented to you are that of the creatures that are in between your position and the next position you need to get to. This in turn makes the game very much feel like a Call of Duty campaign. And Chris's is almost undoubtedly a Call of Duty campaign. The majority of the enemies have weapons, and a lot of the enemies like come after you similar to Insurgents do, and enemies of Call of Duty titles. The set pieces are also extremely big. The graphics are fairly decent. You can definitely tell that this generation of consoles has a tough time dealing with what's going on the screen at times. But I found it enjoyable. I did find myself getting really frustrated at times with issues related to what I was just mentioning with like ammo management and things like that. There is definitely some camera work that is a huge problem. And all these things, like you start adding this stuff together, they're like small gripes when you add them together. It's like the overall scope of it I think is kind of missing as well. They do have a pretty good story, but the story pretty much is the relationship between Chris and Piers. For the remainder of the story, I had no idea what was going on. It's like you get introduced to Piers at the start, and then all of a sudden you're in China, and it's like, why am I in China? I understand that the game has been separated into 3 different main scenario campaigns, but I feel that if you're going to do that, then you kind of have to let the player know what's going on in the other ones at the same time. There was no reason why we should be in China. I figured out eventually, I guess this is a terrorist attack, but I felt as lost as Chris was at the beginning of the campaign, where he had like no memory. So it's a little interesting. I'm kind of curious the proper progression you're supposed to take with the campaigns, how you're supposed to really go through these and figure out which character goes first in the story arc. Nonetheless, the actual cinematics and the story between Chris and Piers is pretty good. And that actually follows through and through really well through the end. The set pieces, and I think the latter portion of Chris's campaign is much better than some of the beginning parts. The snake battle is really cool. I won't try to do much spoilers, but for the remainder of it, it's just very simple fighting dudes, and then they transform into things, or it's you trying to prevent the transformation. There's just a couple of things that really lack polish. It's like the interaction between you and the enemy sometimes. Some of the hit detection is a little off. That could also be because the frame rate is suffering at times. And overall, it just seems like a game that could have used about 6 more months in the oven. Oh, I forgot to mention the turret sequences and the jet sequence. There's a sequence where you're in a car and you have a turret fighting enemies, and it is not good. Not good in the least. It doesn't look good. It doesn't perform very well. You feel like you're going way too fast to see what's going on, and it just feels like extreme filler because it goes on for a very long time, and nothing very interesting happens during it. This feels like one of those sequences that we gotta have this kind of a sequence in Chris's campaign, and here it is. So there's another part where you're in a jet that's a lot cooler because it isn't like other things in games, in shooter games for the most part, and the jet sequence is actually pretty neat. It's still a turret sequence, technically, but it does look a lot better, and it serves the scale and scope much better for that scene as well. So, very mixed review on the end of Chris's campaign. I definitely enjoyed playing it. I enjoyed some parts way more than others, because a lot of other parts just felt like filler to make things a bit longer. But for the most part, I say Chris's campaign, to myself, gets a 7 out of 10. That's my personal review. I would say that Chris's campaign definitely needs a lot of work, but there is a lot of good to it, but there's a lot of really weird decisions through and through at the same time. We'll see what happens when I get the final review when I start going through Jake and Leon, so stay tuned guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the Let's Play. My name is Maximilian, and I'll see you next time.